Frank Connolly here at the Reserve Beach Club. And you know, conservation, especially when it's a core ethic, can be sometimes a tricky thing. It's not just about keeping something in its present state, as the term would suggest, conservation, but actually to be looking out, forward, advanced thinking, trying to mitigate, try to remediate. And nothing was a better story of that forward thinking, observation, and measurement than right here at the Beach Club. As you can see behind me, we have a beautiful open Caribbean. It's a beautiful cove, but you can see that the beach line is really not that wide. It used to be wider, and we started noticing over the course of years that our beach was shrinking. A lot of developers might just say, well, that's just nature, it's the way it is. And they allow things to just progress until it gets up into your principal infrastructure. But we decided to get out ahead of it and call in some coastal engineers from Mexico that are professionals of going around the world looking at beaches and finding ways to do remediation and nourishment, re-nourishment of beaches. So let's go meet them right now. I have the honor and pleasure of being here with Enrique from Axis. They're from Mexico. They're environmental engineers as well as specializing in coastal engineering. Enrique, thank you so much for coming down here to beautiful Belize and taking a look at our beach.
For us, it's a real pleasure. We have been working on beaches, let's say, the last 15 years, basically in Gulf of Mexico, Caribbean, Mexican coast, and some projects in Central America. And it's exciting. Why it's exciting? Because the beach is beautiful, but after the base, the preliminary analysis you invite us to make, the conclusion is very clear that this beach has all the variables that if we do very low things with very organized things, we are going to have a beautiful beach for many years. So I'm very pleased to be.
And that's really the relationship that we build. As many of you have already met, Erwin Contreras, our chief engineer, and I have been reviewing this beach for many years and came to the conclusion that we'd better get ahead of the curve on what we saw as a trend of erosion and mitigating using the type of measures that they adopt. Just was so exciting for us because not only do we get our beach back, it'll actually be maybe even healthier than it even started.
That's correct. I think the first step is to have a scientific confirmation of what all we think. I mean, we have seen this beach working with hurricanes, with extreme events, and the regression has been very low. But we don't have destruction, we don't have so many things. So let's try to understand what is going on and be sure what we are thinking is going on. So the first thing is to make a very easy tool to monitor it at the most efficient way, in a way we all can follow it up by an apps, by phone, by chat, and taking the decisions to be done in a very efficient way. Typically in beaches we don't need very historic decision. We have to make the decision at the right moment and act in a very organized way. That's the philosophy of the project we're going to do.
And we're living in an age of data and climate issues of the change of climate on coastal erosion and coastal mitigation is so fascinating right now. And what's so exciting about the technology that Axis is bringing to us, Enrique will be in Mexico. I may be in California. Erwin may be here in Belize. We'll all be looking at the same app on our phone that's giving us the exact same data all over the world so that we can collaborate on WhatsApp, FaceTime, any of the mediums where we can virtually collaborate all off the same data and make informed decisions. It's so exciting. I'd really like you to show us exactly how you're going to do this. And I think everybody back home, especially our owners in this community, the Reserve, are really going to enjoy and be able to basically watch the rebirth of their beach.
So the idea is that we collect information, we organize online on real time with this application, and we all check it in our phones. So we discuss it by phone, and typically what is very important that our job is to organize the information in a scientific way that has a technical value. But we are not proposing nothing. We are just taking the ideas of all the team, put it in a scientific way, and take the decisions to have a very efficient road. So the example we're going to do now is that we're going to collect a profile. We will see it now in the app. This is going to be done in 1 month, and after we do it in the beach, we're going to have very important data such as how many cubic meters of sand we have lost in the whole system. Not just in the dry beach, that is what we see, but in the system. Is it in the submerged area? Is it lost? Is it gained? So with those decisions, it's very easy to get the right decision to act. So the idea is to make it very simple. Coastal engineering typically is very simple, but it seems it's complex. We're going to do it even more simple now.
And the results are like magic. If you look at any of the data that Axis and many other coastal engineers produce, the results are fantastic. And it goes back and it hits two key points for us here. One, you can't manage what you don't measure. So measurement. And two, the ability to be able to tech transfer that skill set, at least in the measuring, to our workforce, so that our workforce is learning up a new skill set, a technology, and sharing that technology seamlessly through those little handheld computers that we have. This is just best of breed, and we can't wait to see the results. Now, the one thing that we did discuss is, as a result of this data, we're thinking, at least preliminarily, that you may be using a submerged groin to help complete the process that you're intending, which is to renourish this beach. Can you tell us a little bit about what is that submerged groin and how does it work?
We are thinking that maybe we have, first of all, view of the beauty of the beach. We cannot do nothing emergent. I mean, we're not going to sacrifice such a little place. But we have many applications that with submerged structures, we just are going to download the speed of the sand motion. We are going to reduce the wave energy that put sand in suspension, then we put sand in motion. If we reduce that wave energy, sand is going to go down easier. So what we're going to do is to force the settle of the sediments. Mm-hmm. We really think we're going to do first of all a first beach of between 100 and 150 meters. We're going to propose a submerged structure very small. We're thinking about up to 40 meters, not higher than 60 centimeters, that's 2 feet. Mm-hmm. So that means nothing in terms of aesthetics, but it's a lot in terms of wave energy reduction. So with the application of monitoring, what we're going to see is that sand stays there. The maintenance, there is always some maintenance, but it's going to be very low. And we are going to conclude maybe 1 year that is a very good solution to explode the whole beach. So we are going to be ready whenever we have to rebuild this beach. The solution is there. We are enjoying it now, but at the same time we're gaining a lot of value in monitoring. One point, something I want to point out is that our experience when the community starts monitoring is complex. I mean, you start exciting the first campaign, the first month, the second, the third month. It is complex to collect data, to retrieve it, to process it. So you don't get boring, and maybe at the month number 6, you so the information doesn't have any value. So, but if we do it very simple, we are talking really about 3 hours invested per month.
This is nothing.
The rest is just on real-time processing method, like so many applications. You know, so in Google, you put the maps and you know the traffic. Something like that, as simple as that. So this is what excites the people, that they know when they did 1 year monitoring, 2 year monitoring, 3 year monitoring, they understand that their data it has a big value.
It's return on investment.
The beach is there. Yeah. They see that every time we move forward in monitoring, the maintenance costs are lower, close to zero. So it becomes perfect. We gain the consultants we gain. We have great projects to sell somewhere else, but the users gain that they have an incredible beach. So it's a gain solution.
And nobody doesn't love a beautiful beach?
That's
for
correct.
sure. Well, what I love about what you're talking about is obviously submerged groin, as its name implies, underwater. You can't see it. It's not like erecting a seawall or some barrier to
correct.
try to stop the ocean. It's biomimicry, which is actually mimicking the natural processes
That's
that the ocean uses to create its own beautiful beaches wherever you want. And obviously, I love the aspect of having something that collects data that can be measured over time, and you can measure progress, and measuring progress, as you aptly pointed out, that encourages people to continue with the program into perpetuity, and that is sustainable.
That's correct. That's the value for the next beaches, for the next years. And talking of this place for the next generation of users of this beach.
Enrique, thank you so much.
Thanks,
and
Ian.
let's go take a look at how you're going to do this.
Let's do it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, this is the imported sand we're going to bring from our river bank, and this is the local sand. What's important here, this is at least the average diameter of the grains is the same one like this one or a little bigger. So technically that's very good in terms of stability of the slope is going to take the beach. But we have to take a look that this is a comfortable grain to whack on it, to have the diameter that it gives you a lot of stability and the color, the aesthetic of the color. So
Yeah, the coarseness, and I see a lot of the granite, small granite flakes in there, and then of course once this dries out, it'll probably be closer to this color.
yeah,
But I like the texture. The texture is nice.
the texture seems to be very good. It's something comfortable to whack, and if you take into details, it's very easy to remove it when we come to the sea, to the beach. So,
Yeah.
so I think it covers what we are looking for. Anyway, it's going to go to the lab, and we're going to have conclusions in the first 2-3 weeks. In the next 2-3 weeks, but it looks a very good sign.
Very nice. Okay, we're in the test location where we're going to engage the very first test of the beach here at the reserve. And I was mentioning to you as we were heading over here, one of the greatest and really moving aspects of this project is that it was also encouraged by the Owners Association, because they, as an ownership, as a community, we have a very strong land ethic. We feel that this belongs to the community, and they care for it in an affectionate way, not just a mechanical way of saying, well, big beautiful beach sounds good, looks good. Of course it does, but I think there's a care factor in the conversations that I've had with the Owners Association that land ethic has welled up in them, to make them not just want to see this project through, but to understand the beach more, to have relationship with it, because they care for it, they're affectionate for it, and I'm just so glad that you can be here and really make that possible for this community.
I'm very happy because the community is making very easy to us. I mean, we are not just bringing some ideas, present a PowerPoint, to pay and reward. That doesn't exist anymore in beaches. Simply we have a situation together is not a problem. It's a situation that just let attend them, and the goal is stable beach and a nice beach at the lowest cost. So let's do it together. Let's get the info. Let's take. Our job is to organize the info, not to take the final decision. The final decision we discuss. So it's just good. So what we have here as first step, we have defined 7 profiles along this beach. We start in the first 50 meters. We have 5 profiles every 50 meters. That is the area that we have to focus more attention. And then we have 2 more profiles every 100 meters. So we have to compare what is going here to what is going there, that we think is more or less the same, but let's just verify. So let's make sure that whatever we do here is going to work 300 meters away. So this is where we define the profile. This stick is going to be here all the time, and every month we're going to do the same operation we're going to do just now. Okay, so
Let's talk about this tool that you have. Maybe we can bring that forward. All right, what was really interesting about this, firstly, come on in here, Clinton. Clinton is one of our surveyors here at the reserve. He'll be responsible, is learning on the job right now, and this will be one more responsibility for you among a lot of others. But one of the neat things is they gave us the dimensions of this this tool, the wood part of it, we actually had made in the wood shop from Belizean hardwood. So
Okay.
we made sure it was special, just like everything else we try to do here. But explain for us, what is this contraption?
Okay, we're just picking up the profiles, the 7 profiles, with total station techniques to have very, very well defined in a universal coordinate system, what we call UTM systems. Once we have done this, we can verify that every time we take a profile, if there is everything right, or if there is something we cannot use. So what we do here, you have to understand how is behaving the profile, and we are just going to do it to take this measure every 1.5 meters. This is separated 1.5 meters, and we have a lecture here that the difference of the column of water is going to give us how is the profile against this point with this point. So we are going to start with the stick, and we are going to go. We'll check it now. Is the first time, but it's going to be around 90 feet, something like that. 30 meters, 40 meters, something like that. So every time, every 1.5 meters that we move, we are going to take the lecture and we are going to put it in the app. When we are going to put the value. When we said OK, goes to the server and is processed immediately. Next to the next step, next to the next step, next to the next step. So we have all the profile with this date and this position. That profile is processed immediately and it's online for all of us. We make the correction if it's the case and we notify. If not, it's just in the web for all of us. What is going to happen the month 2? The month 2 is that we are going to do exactly the same. So maybe we have 1 meter of beach, less or more, and it's something very complex to interpret because maybe we have a different tide. Sometimes we don't know if it's high tide, low tide, so it doesn't mean nothing if we gain or lose 1 meter of beach. But we are going to along 50 meters if we gain or lose sand. So maybe we have lose sand here in this profile, but we have gained a lot of the submerged area here. Maybe we lose sand here and we lost sand here. Maybe there is a problem. But also we are going to compare this profile with the next profile and the next profile. So let's say that profiles in that direction are gaining sand, and in this direction are losing sand. Another way, we are going to be processing the wave data that is available of the wave. So we are going to say, let's just calm down. The sun is moving that direction. It's normal in this month of the year. We compare to the day, so there is nothing to do, just to monitor. So it's a natural process. It's very common that people get alarmed. We lost sun and it's deeper there. Maybe there is a reason. So maybe the conclusion, and many times it is the best conclusion, is don't do nothing, let the sea work by itself. We have to understand that the only decision that imports is that what the sea says, comparing beaches to sand to weather. So if we understand what the message of the sea, we conclude that the best is not to do nothing, let the sea work. But what about if there is a extreme event that the sun is moving away, we know it's not going to back into 2-3 days? So we take a decision there. We take the decision to pop sand back. Maybe what we are doing, the beach nourishment problem comes because we have been losing sand a little year by year for decades. So it's a moment to take a decision. Let's bring sand away and put it artificial. The sea is going to respect that. But we don't have to do it every year. So now the sea is working. If we have this information, we get the conclusions. And the conclusion is, let's don't bring sand again. Let's just bring a maintenance refill of 10% of the original fill, of the original refilling. And this is quite of normal. The first year, you just refill the 10% of the original refill. But maybe by the year 5, you don't refill nothing. So we have all that information, is the conclusions we are going to take together. So summarizing, we are taking this profile and we're taking profiles along 500 meters. The information is very good, but it's going to be extremely good when we compare it to other campaigns every 1 month. So then we have all the information we need to take the decision for a long-term maintenance at the lowest cost. That is the idea. So if it is okay, we start working with this profile.
Yeah.
Okay, let's do it.
Okay, so now you've captured the data here
Yes.
on your phone.
This table can show you what are the measures that we take with that data, right? This is the graph about that describe these data, right? We can see that the measure in the start point is 40.5 meters at the last measure.
So the whole profile is 40 meters long.
Yes.
45 meters. Okay, one important thing.
40.5 meters.
And this is from the land side to the sea
Yes.
in this
We
direction.
start here and we finish here.
And this data is live right now. It's actually on your phone, and basically we could be looking at this anywhere in the world.
Yes,
And this is the first measurements we've ever taken on this beach.
yes, we are going to have month after month the graphs all together. One important thing is that were not mentioned before. This is the rough data. Then we are going to process online relation with the astronomical tide, with other profiles, and for instance, I see something very important here. We have a submerged sandbar part here.
Right here where this little hump
Yeah,
is.
that is the foundation of a beach.
Okay.
The foundation of a beach is the sandbar and the view. So everything is important. But how much it behaves, the sandbar is great. So whenever we lost 2-3 meters of beach, if those meters are in the sandbar, the beach is perfect. The beach is stable, the beach is healthy. When we lose more sand, that how much it grows the sandbar, we have something to focus on. Go to the profile before and after and that. So there are so many things we analyze from comparing two profiles that we're going to put it in a very easy way that we can all discuss.
And we'll be able to look basically profile by profile all the way down the
That's
beach
correct.
and see if this dune under there
That's
continues
That's
and
correct.
how it may be affected over time.
That's cool.
What an amazing tool, and right in the palm of your hand and everybody's hand anywhere in the world.
That's correct. Yeah.
I love it.
Whenever you say, this application is yours, so you say who has it and who is. That's
Fantastic.
simple as that.
Thank you. This is kind of a special moment for us, our very first measurement of our beach, and learning more about this this beach that we all know and love right here at the reserve. Thank you. So there you have it, our first steps towards coastal remediation. I love the fact that it's a conservative approach and it's data driven. These things take time. That first stretch of data that we get is just the very, very first stream of a long line of data, but it gives us the ability to make well-informed decisions, to know our environment, to make a relationship with it. I loved it when Enrique said that we had to listen to the sea and see what it's telling us. There's no better explanation of what we're trying to do here at the reserve, let alone at this beautiful beach and the beach club. It's an aesthetic value, but it's also a land ethic value. Thanks to all of you for tuning in, watching, and learning with me about coastal remediation right here at the reserve.